Now, I'm not one to gossip, but I will bring you the tea. Welcome to Chronicle Speaks.
Please, I don't have any time for any gossip now. Eh? Yes.
Look at you.
So your boy Diddy has been denied bail for the second time.
Another one.
And Diddy is finding out the hard way that money and fame does not always get you what you want in life, especially when you're looking down the barrel of justice. Diddy has been alleged to kidnap a person at gunpoint, going with that person and another co-conspirator to break into Kid Cudi's home, and days later have Cudi's convertible top sliced open, a Molotov cocktail thrown inside, and the car torched. There are video evidence of freak-offs, text messages, and recorded phone calls of alleged witness tampering, 49 unidentified co-conspirator victims and witnesses to his crime, and the arson list is crazy. Let the prosecution tell it. Diddy is the fire marshal bill of hip-hop. Diddy's former artist Shyne has come forward since Diddy's arrest, stating that the troubled star destroyed his life after he was sentenced to 10 years for a New York City club shooting they were both involved in. And since we're on the subject of destroyed lives, we are going to talk about Kim Porter, who allegedly wrote diary entries of her time with Diddy. I read 13 pages of this alleged memoir, and baby, let me tell you, my mouth is still on the floor. We are going to get into this and so much more, but before we do, please be sure to subscribe to this channel and hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss out on any news regarding this story and so much more. Now let's get back into it. So obviously Diddy is no longer living in the lap of luxury, enjoying fine dining, and not to mention a staff that is said to wear all black bags that were filled with his alleged drug of choice, pink Tucci. Diddy has been denied bail for a second time, but this time by a different judge, and this happens to be the actual judge presiding over his case. And let's just say she's a get to the point, I don't feel like hearing your another sad love song type of judge. Now they currently have Diddy on suicide watch, and they said they don't really know what his mental is right now, but I know every time he meets with his attorney, he's like,
sitting that jail down there about done rocked to death.
Diddy and his attorneys have done everything to show the judge that he's this model citizen that's given tirelessly to the black community, giving back to the Boys and Girls Club, donating $1 million as promised to his alma mater, Howard University. However, the judge denied the request, feeling that Diddy is not only a flight risk, but also a danger to the community.
So we made a bail appeal to Judge Carter. It did not go our way. The fight continues. We're not giving up by a long shot. I told Mr. Combs I'm going to try and get his case to trial as quickly as possible. I'm going to try and minimize the amount of time he spends in very, very difficult and I believe inhumane housing conditions in the special housing unit of the Metropolitan Detention Facility. And I'm going to do everything that I can to move his case as quickly as possible. I understand that the government has a great amount of electronic devices that they have to download and provide to me, but everything's on the government's timetable, nothing's on the defendant's timetable, and they're going to have to accommodate me and him and give us a quick trial, and I'm going to be pushing for that. He's ready, he's focused. He has been ready to defend this case since he first found out about this case. Nothing has changed from his perspective. I obviously would much prefer to fight this case with him out of jail, and we are going to try to bring that about through additional legal process. But wherever he is, his resolve is the same. He believes he's innocent. I believe he's innocent, and we're going to fight this case with all of our might until we don't have to fight anymore. I'm not really going to take any questions, but at this point, we are moving forward. We're preparing for trial as we speak, and we are considering our next steps and appealing the court's ruling from today.
Now, according to R. Kelly's former attorney, Steve Greenberg, he said that this case is very reminiscent of R. Kelly's case in how they're trying him. However, this is a little bit more troubling than R. Kelly's case because it has more of a sadistic feel to it. Now, he said that the jail that is currently housing Diddy is the same jail that once housed R. Kelly. This jail is said to be one of the worst federal jails in the country. It's described as disgusting with horrifying conditions. Every morning, Diddy wakes up to white painted cinder block walls laws. And yeah, Diddy might be this tough guy that intimidated people on the streets, but that was only because of the people and connections that he had and his finances that allotted him the means to make people go away. However, let's not forget, Diddy is a sedity pretty boy from Harlem. He is not built for this kind of life and will possibly buckle under pressure real quick. According to the New York Post, Sean Diddy Combs has been placed on suicide watch inside the Brooklyn jail where he awaits trial for his alleged sex crimes, as the 54-year-old's mental state is unclear, according to the Post. The rapper being added to the watch is a preventative measure days after he was arrested on charges of sex trafficking, racketeering, and transportation to engage in prostitution. Officials ruled the 54-year-old is shocked and his mental state is unclear. And I know one thing that is probably bothering Diddy the most is Diddy may be going through withdrawal. If you recall, in the Little Rod lawsuit, Little Rod claimed that he stayed with Diddy for 13 months. He traveled with him and he witnessed defendant Coram, Christina Coram, who happens to be Diddy's right-hand woman. That's the woman that made sure he had the drugs around him at all times. She openly ordered her assistants to keep Mr. Combs high off gummies and pills. Defendant Coram required all employees, from the butler to the chef to the housekeepers, to walk around with a pouch or fanny pack filled with cocaine, GHB, ecstasy, marijuana, gummies, and Tucci, which is a pink drug that is a combination of ecstasy and cocaine. And if you recall, when Diddy was taken into custody earlier this week at his hotel, law enforcement allegedly found bags of pink powder, which appears to be narcotics. And speaking of Diddy being taken into custody, TMZ did obtain this footage of Diddy at his hotel. Plainclothes law enforcement officers came, they put their hand on his back, he walked through the hotel. The next time you see him, Diddy is actually cuffed. They go down to an elevator and they then walk out. Diddy still is cuffed. There's no fight, there's no resistance. Diddy knew that this was coming. Let Diddy's attorneys tell it, this is the whole reason why he came to New York. He actually wanted to turn himself in. However, law enforcement was like, nope, we are going to come get you. We can't tell you when, can't tell you where, but we coming. Now, with Diddy being locked up, this is definitely an advantage for the prosecution. It's almost like Diddy is fighting with one hand behind his back. Yes, he has legal representation. However, according to R. Kelly's former attorney, this does not look good for Diddy.
You can only sit with your client for limited periods of time. Then they have count, then they have lunch, then they have lockdown. They have all sorts of different things. There's limits on electronics and what you can bring in. There's limits on what they can see. There's limits on when you can go, as opposed to having them sit in your office all day. There's limits on what you can talk to them about. It's much harder to prepare with a client. You don't have the luxury of picking up the phone and saying, hey, I was looking at this, I've got a question about it. It'll make it much tougher for them to prepare.
R. Kelly's attorneys were denied 4 times when they attempted to get Kelly out on bond, and although Diddy has the means and the attorneys that can definitely put forth a good fight, Diddy's alleged obstruction of justice seems to be the driving force to the judge's hard no. The fire marshal bill of it all was mentioned in the prosecution's court motion to deny Diddy's bail. It's being said that Diddy boasted about Kid Cudi's car being set ablaze after Cassie ran to him after Diddy's mistreatment towards her. The prosecution explained the arson by saying this: in the early morning hours of December 22nd, 2011, the defendant and a co-conspirator kidnapped an individual at gunpoint to facilitate breaking into and entering the residence of another, individual 1, who happens to be Kid Cudi. Multiple witnesses would testify at trial to the events surrounding the kidnapping and break-in, the latter of which is corroborated by police reports and other records. Approximately 2 weeks later, the defendant's co-conspirator set fire to individual 1's vehicle by slicing open the car's convertible top and dropping a Molotov cocktail inside the interior. Police and fire department reports extensively document the arson and conclude that the fire was intentionally set. Multiple witnesses would also testify to the defendant bragging about his role in destroying individual 1's car. So when Diddy called himself a bad boy, he said it, he meant it, and he represented it. Now, speaking of bad boy, let's talk about Diddy's former artist, Shyne. Shyne was on the verge of releasing his debut album, but on the evening of December 27th, 1999, he went to a nightclub with his then mentor and label boss, Shyne P. Diddy Combs, along with Diddy's girlfriend, Jennifer Lopez. An argument broke out in the club between Combs and another man. Guns were drawn, shots were fired, and 3 bystanders were injured. In June of 2001, Shyne was convicted of assault and sentenced to 10 years in prison. However, his debut album was nevertheless a success, and he continued to record music while being incarcerated. This is what he has to say about Shyne P. Diddy Combs now.
When I was a 18-year-old kid, just wanting to do nothing other than make my mother proud and make Belize proud and do what all of us want to do, be recognized for our talent and take over the world. I was defending him, and he turned around and called witnesses to testify against me, and he contributed. He pretty much sent me to prison. So that is the context by which you must always describe that relationship. Yes, I forgave, I moved on, but let us not pretend as if I was in Miami for Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Well, I saw
and
you
that
spent a birthday with him once.
I
saw a birthday
I
cake.
went again to do a charity event for impoverished youth in London. So let us not lose sight of what the cold hard facts are. This was not someone who I vacationed with and who he and I enjoyed this great intimate relationship of brotherhood. This is someone who destroyed my life.
And since we're on the conversation of lives being destroyed, let's talk about Kim Porter, who was Diddy's longtime girlfriend and mother to 3 of his children. Now, it's being stated that Kim had diary entries talking about her life with Diddy. And if you recall, months ago, Sloan Bella, who happens to be a psychic and medium, told us that Kim Porter telepathically contacted her, stating that there is a memoir, there's writings that she wrote that will be coming out soon. Take a listen to this.
She had 3 manuscripts and she gave them to 3 separate people. Somebody you wouldn't even suspect. Somebody outside of her friend group, somebody entirely different. She had a very close-knit circle of friends and a particular type of friends. So she hung around particular people. She was very specific in her choice of people that she allowed in her circle. Okay, very, very, very controlled about that. However, somebody from outside that circle has one of, quote, the books or manuscripts or written documentation. So they don't have it all. And she's kind of laughing because she suspected that this would happen, but it blew her mind when it happened. Then she's like, he literally went dark, black eyes, dark, completely shut down and dark. So she didn't even know who she was dealing with. She was starting to see what he was for real and no more denying it. A whole hell of a lot she saw. So everything she's writing about, like, she's kind of saying, I saw it. Like, I lived it. I saw it. It happened. This is what happened. So she doesn't really understand why that can't come out if that's what you're doing. It's very, very transparent to her, and you can't fool her. And you are going to stand so noted, accountable within the next 5 months. He's trying desperately to backpedal out of this, but whoever that man is, it's a white man that has the tape or the information or however that is, one of the manuscripts with personal, private, written, handwritten documentation about what was said to her 3 months before she passed, what she witnessed, and the final straw that she couldn't take anymore. And it's not a case of domestic violence. It goes far beyond that and that.
And if you think about it, Sloan Bella said that a white man was given the manuscript, and a man by the name of Chris Todd, who is an LA-based investigator who's been featured on Court TV and News Nation, actually put the book out on September 6th, and the name of the book is Kim's Lost Words, A Journey for Justice from the Other Side. However, he used the pseudonym Jamal T. Millwood because, for one, he knew y'all black behinds wasn't gonna buy no book from no white man about Kim Porter, and secondly, his safety was at risk However, now that Diddy is locked up, he feels safe to come out, and this is why the book is out and his name is being listed as the person who put it out there. Now, I ordered the book and it will be here tomorrow. However, I did get a 13-page excerpt and I read it and I want to read it to y'all so bad, God knows I do. But all I saw was copyright, copyright, copyright. So I can't read it page for page, but I can tell you this. There's some salacious stuff about Tupac that had Tupac checking Diddy like, dude, I'm not like that. You're not going to come at me like that. There's a mention of I'll Be Sure that will definitely have you clutching your invisible pearls. Faith Evans, Mary J. Blige. I know the first couple of hours of my day tomorrow, sis is going to be busy reading. Now, I will give you this tidbit. The Daily Mail did speak to Mr. Chris Todd, and they did reveal some excerpts, and I will read those to you. Now, Todd said he did not originally want to put his name in the book for security reasons. This is a dangerous situation, and I did not want to claim ownership of Kim's words. But now I am willing to come forward because of the recent arrest of Shyne Combs. Now the federal government has finally acted. I feel safer to come forward. Details of some of the scandals alleged in the book have already been reported. The first one, they talk about Shyne and the nightclub shooting, which we talked about earlier in the video. They go on to say other incidents have been flat out denied by alleged participants, including star-studded orgies. He hosted parties that were just a fancy name of orgies, and everyone wanted in, the Porter memoir claimed. We not only had threesomes, but we also swapped partners. Our sex life was crazy, but I got to do things with Shyne I would never have been able to do with a straight man. She said she was sleeping with a well-known married woman, and I believe that meant to say that Diddy was sleeping with a well-known married woman. She said, I woke up and left the bedroom where I was, and Shyne happened to be coming out of the bedroom with a chart-topping rapper and the woman's husband. I was grateful I wasn't asked to join in that room, Porter allegedly wrote, saying she didn't really like the rapper. Y'all get down in the comments. Who was a chart-topping rapper that was a female that was married? Porter allegedly wrote that she and Diddy had an open relationship and she regularly slept with legendary late rapper Tupac Shakur. The Porter memoir claimed Combs first hit her after she refused to use a strap-on on him. Not get the strap. Just can't stop thinking about that night. It was amazing. Can you screw me one more time, please? Diddy said according to the book.
Ain't no way. Ain't no way.
I became infuriated, the book said, adding that Porter told Diddy to instead have sex with a male music executive she believed he was having an affair with. Then Shyne hit me. This was the first time, but he slapped me hard. Before I could form words, he began to beg, I'm sorry. Holding my cheek where he hit me, I turned and ran off. That should have been it, but I guess I'm a glutton for punishment. The book described another incident at Porter's apartment. He fiercely slammed me to the ground. Then he pulled out a .22 handgun and sat it on the end table, the memoir claimed. He knelt on one knee and got right in my face to say, you're mine. You don't have a choice in that right now. I can't live without you. The book alleges that Kim called Diddy a terrifying monster. Porter allegedly wrote that she discovered videotapes of Shyne's sexual encounters in his bedroom vault and made copies of them as protection for herself as part of her plan to leave him. But the memoir said that when she watched back those tapes, she was shocked. Some of those tapes had things I would have never expected. The gay parties are one thing, but the young boys, like two hip-hop stars formerly managed by Diddy and the then 18-year-old pop star, I would have never known. The book's publisher claimed the friends of Porter and Diddy who gave him the memoir also made copies of the music mogul's alleged sex tape. The way he's talking, he's probably going to be subpoenaed next to get the information of the friends that are holding on to these sex tapes so the government can have that as well. He claimed a shady interlocutor had even been trying to sell them to Hollywood documentary producers. He said, I was given the memoir, 60 pages. I was also given a photo and told if I wanted access to the Diddy sex tapes, I could have that also, he said. I know for a fact that the sex tape of Diddy with the teenage pop star has been shopped to Hollywood studios by other parties. Todd also shared a photo of Porter, which he said was taken in her bathroom at her Toluca Lake mansion around 2009. He claimed a friend of Porter's took the photo while she applied makeup to cover up an injury from one of Diddy's alleged attacks. The photo's background matches realtor photos of the master bathroom at the mansion where Porter was later found dead 2018. Now, if you recall, months ago when the rumors of this memoir first came out, Kim's good friend Ebony Electra slammed him. She says, I'm gonna say this as loud as I can, Kim Porter never drafted nor wrote a book, memoir, or manuscript. I don't know if she's counting diary entries as writings. However, I do know this. Ebony Electra is also a cousin to Diddy. And I know that typically anytime stories like this get out about the diddler, he finds someone to refute them for him. Just last week, Diddy's ex-bandmate Don Richard made claims against Diddy in her lawsuit, claiming that she and her bandmate Kalina Harper saw Diddy do some horrific things to not only Kim Porter, but Cassie as well. And Kalina was like, girl, I don't know nothing. I ain't seen nothing. However, it was stated by prosecution that right after Dawn filed her lawsuit, Diddy contacted Kalina 54 times, and that's what made her make that statement. So it's hard to know what to believe when it comes to Diddy, because he's got ways of making things look a certain kind of way when they really aren't. And I do want to note that Chris Todd's book about Kim Porter was independently published. I will say this: before a big-time publisher will touch a book about a person who is now deceased, they have to have documented evidence or proof that what you're saying is actually real, because they don't want to get sued. No different from Corinne Stebbins, now known as Elizabeth Overson, in her book Confessions of a Video Vixen. There were a lot of celebrity men that were mad after she put out information in her book. However, no one sued her because she had to show the publisher proof of all of these events happening. Even her time with P. Diddy.
You walked in on record executives having gay sex, or one executive having gay sex with a man. Mm-hmm. You don't mention that person's name. Can we talk about what record label?
No, that'll give it away. That'll give it away. But
what letter does it start with?
Not even. That'll give it away.
Let's continue with the problems. There was a party in Miami, and you showed up with Exhibit, and it was Puffy was at the party, or it was his party.
His party.
And when he saw you come in, it was like he saw a ghost, and he immediately asked you why you were there. He thought that you were there to blow up his spot. He then pulled Exhibit aside and asked Exhibit to get you out of the party.
Well, this was a lot to take in. Now, Diddy, what I need to do is hear from you. What do you think about everything going on in the world of Diddy? Leave a comment, and you know how we do. We'll talk about it down below. Talk to you guys later. Bye. As always, thanks for watching. But before you go, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, like this video, and hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss out on any of my new episodes.